Hello there, this is Okpe Afolabi from Young Couples Evans. I want to ask you, have you been in a situation where you're trying to have a conversation with your spouse, but you fear that that conversation can go south, or it can get out of hand? Now in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 3 things I think you should bear in mind while navigating difficult conversations with your spouse. I want you to sit down, relax, and let's dive into this together. Welcome to this channel. If this is your first time in this channel, I want to welcome you especially, but then I want to encourage you, please make sure you press the subscribe button if you have not already done so, and please press the notification bell so that each time I upload new videos, you're going to be notified. And beyond that, if this video blesses you in any way, make sure you press the like button and please share with your friends. You never can tell, this could be the video somebody has been waiting for. Now, let's dive into it. Now, when it comes to navigating difficult conversations, when we look at our marriages, at some point in our lives, we will need to have this kind of conversations. Maybe it's a conversation about how your spouse spends their money, or how you spend your money, or how they live their life, or how they treat you, or how their actions or their behaviors make you feel. We're going to have this conversation at some point in life, because if we don't have it, if we just keep putting it under the carpet, at some point in the relationship, it will keep coming up. So we are going to have this conversation. So, but how do we have these conversations in such a way that we get the results that we desire? And there are 3 things I want you to bear in mind. The first thing is that the timing is right. When you're having this kind of conversation, make sure that you're having it at the right time, not just for you, but also for your spouse. Not just the time that is comfortable for you to have it, it should also be very comfortable with your spouse, for your spouse to have that conversation. And how do you know? Number 1 is that make sure they are in the right frame of mind to have that kind of conversation. Number 2, you want to ensure also that they are relaxed and that you can have their undivided attention. Because at the end of the day, the idea of this conversation is not necessarily to vent your frustration, because if it is to vent your frustration, you're not necessarily going to get an answer. You see, what you get from them is a response you don't want. It's just going to be fight, So the idea of this conversation is not necessarily just to vent your frustration, is to engage them in a conversation that will produce a positive outcome. That's the essence of this conversation. So you want to ensure that they, as well as you, are in the right frame of mind to have this conversation. But beyond that, you also want to ensure that you can have their undivided attention while having this conversation. So please ensure that the time is right. When I mean the time is right, because sometimes it could be that your spouse has gone to work and then they've just returned from work. They're very tired. All they need at that time is rest. That's not the time to raise a difficult conversation with them, or a tricky conversation with them. Or maybe they've been busy all day. They're having been with the children, they've been cooking, they've been doing a lot of things, and then they just want to relax. And that's when you wake them up, or you just touch them and say you want to have something difficult conversation with them. There's a possibility that you will not have their undivided attention, and there's a possibility that they will not be in the right frame of mind to have that conversation. Just like I told you, the idea of this conversation is not just necessary for you to vent your anger, because that won't produce any result. The idea is to be able to engage in a conversation that possibly accumulate into what you call a change of behavior, or a change of direction in the relationship, or at least a positive outcome for both of you. All right. So the second point I want you to know, apart from that, is that it is important for you to attack the issue and not the person. So when you're having this kind of conversation, there are some times that when we have frustrations, maybe about certain ways that our spouses behave, or certain things that they do, there's sometimes that we want to, with the energy of that frustration, we just want to unleash it on them. Now the truth is that, as refreshing it might be for you, it might be a release for you, but that might not be the best approach for your relationship. It might not lead to the best outcome for your relationship. So what you want to ensure is that you are dealing with the issue, not the person. What do I mean? Now, when it comes to this kind of conversation, you want to ensure that you are not just attacking your spouse. You are talking to them about what they do. Let me give an instance. Maybe it is the way your spouse spends money. Don't say you don't know how to spend money. Don't say you are so terrible with money. Now, if you're having that kind of conversation, when you say it that way, there's a possibility that they'll get very defensive, that they want to protect their space and say, what do you mean? And you know what? That conversation might go in a direction you really don't want it to get into. So what you want to say is that, babe, I don't like the way you spend money. I'm not really comfortable with the way, our finances are going in this family. I'm afraid that we can get broke at some point. and then you can ask, what do you mean? And then you explain in a very nice way. Just deal with the situation. Don't try to attack the person. You see, another thing that I mean by that is that sometimes we try to cut the person down. Don't let your words break the person. Let it break the situation. Don't make that person feel less than human. Don't try to break them down. That's not the essence of that conversation. The essence of the conversation is for you to have a positive outcome. So please attack the issue. Attack what the problem is. Don't attack the person. All right? Don't attack the person. And that's the second thing I want you to know when navigating this difficult conversation. And then the final thing I also want you to bear in mind is that also give your spouse the benefit of the doubt. Sometimes after you have spoken and you have told them the things, what they do make you feel, or what they do make other people feel, or why you think that there should be a new direction as regards their actions or concerning the things that you do within the family. It's important for you to also give them the benefit of that. Listen to them, so hear their own side of the story. And when I say you listen in such a way that you don't get defensive, because there are two things that hinder effective communication in our relationships. Number one, that sometimes we communicate in an offensive manner, and number two is that we listen in a defensive manner. What do I mean by listening in a defensive manner? Sometimes when you're listening to your spouse, you're just hearing them, you're really not listening, because what you're doing is that within you're cooking up a response for what they are saying. You want to defend yourself, you want to say things, you want to say, no, that's not you. Just listen, hear their frustration, because either you believe what they are saying or not, the truth is that is how they feel. Either you think it is right. If your spouse tells you that, I'm not really comfortable with the way we are spending money in this family, I think we can get broke at some point. I think we can get broke really soon. Either you believe you will get broke or not. That's notwithstanding. The truth is that your spouse feels that you are going in a direction that is not good for you as a family. It is good for you to understand their frustration. It's good for you to listen to that in their voice and know that is their frustration. You understand? And beyond that, look at the way that you both can navigate that together. So after you've made sure that the conditions are right, after you have made sure that you attack the situation and not the person, it's also good that you give them the benefit and listen to them, hear their own side of the story. That is when you can have effective communication. Because if it is only you who spoke and you did not get a feedback, there's a possibility that situation will come up again. So ensure that you create an atmosphere for feedback. Ensure that you give them the opportunity to talk back to you, in such a way that they also tell you their side of the story. Now, please listen without being defensive. I hope this video has blessed you. Now, if you have any other thing that you think helps us to navigate these difficult conversations very well, I want to drop it in the comment section below. I'm going to go through it. I'm going to respond to your comment. I'm going to engage with you also in the comment section. And please, again, if this video has blessed you, make sure you press the like button, and please share with all of your friends and your colleagues. You never can tell, there could be somebody who has been waiting for this video. Until I see you in the next video, I declare your marriage blessed.